All right, welcome back into the Double Coverage Football Podcast. Today, myself and JaVon are going to be going through each and every single NFL team and saying whether or not they should buy, sell, or hold at the trade deadline. I figured 2 months into the season, this is a good way to kind of give our thoughts on each team and where they're at, and also talk about some fun trade candidates. So, just going to go division by division here. I got the
Okay.
standings pulled up on the second monitor. So we'll start with the AFC East. The New England Patriots sit atop the AFC East at 6-2. They've won 5 straight games. They're 4-0 on the road this year. They have a plus 67 run differential, which is also the best in the division. Drake May is currently third in MVP favorites, according to FanDuel, DraftKings, etc. And my wonderful co-host JaVon predicted that the New England Patriots would win this division this year, would win 13-ish games, something in that realm. And many people, including myself, very much doubted him. So I'm going to toss it over to him and say, hey, you were right about the Patriots. Now, what do they do at the deadline?
I mean, I don't think they need to be crazy buyers, but they do need to get some depth on the offensive line because Drake May is already fighting for his life back there. They don't have a good offensive line,
Yep.
and that makes their record kind of a little bit more impressive than people are giving them credit for because he's really making everything happen right now. So I'll say if you can go out and get a lineman, just a rotational guy who can hold it down and who's flexible, I say go get it. But besides that, I wouldn't change that much. I heard they're shopping Kyle Duggar. I think their safety, Kyle Duggar, they shopped him, and they already got rid of Jabril Peppers too. So they're really
Yep.
just unloading in that secondary, to be honest, which I wasn't
They
expecting.
just extended Marcus Jones today, as we're
Yeah, I saw
recording,
that.
so their cornerback duo is pretty locked up. Drake May has been sacked the second most of any quarterback in the NFL this year at 28 times. The only quarterback sacked more has been Cam Ward. So, just for some reference
Yeah,
there as to what Cam Ward's dealing with in Tennessee, but also for Drake May's sake, he's been sacked a ton. So I think it goes without saying, hey, Cleveland, I heard that they might be shopping their guards, just kind of anybody that you could get on that
anybody.
offensive line. Where are you at on New England pursuing a wide receiver, and how heavily do you think that they should? Obviously, there's constant rumors about AJ Brown. I don't think either of us believe he's going anywhere. If he's available, sure, New England should go after him. But what are your thoughts on New England pursuing a receiver like Chris Olave, a receiver like Rashid Shaheed that could be on the market, the Saints guys, or just kind of any veterans from around the league? Do you think that they should do that, or just kind of roll with the young guys they got with Booty? They already got Diggs there, and just kind of play out the season.
Yeah, I mean, I would play out the season. I mean, if they do make a trade for a receiver, then everybody would know how serious they are taking this season. But I'm pretty sure they expected this year to be a rebuild unless you can get something for cheap. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind calling up Cleveland and seeing about David Njoku. But I know they still have a tight end over there.
Add
But
another tight end to this room.
hey, maybe. Hey, maybe. Hunter Henry he hasn't been amazing this year, but he's been okay. I mean, if you can find someone for cheap, I don't know about Olave because he's already
So
injury prone,
I,
kind of.
I I would go after Olave if I was them, but I wouldn't go after a Rashid Shaheed type because I feel like their room is just already built of wide receivers that fit the mold of wide receiver
Yeah,
2 or 3. If you could get a de facto, like, again, I don't think AJ Brown's on the market, but if he is, absolutely. I think Chris Olave, if he's on the market, you could absolutely go into him. I don't think Jalen Waddle is going to be on the market. I heard like Twitter rumors of him, but nothing that I fully bought into. But in Division Two, so it seems like almost completely unlikely that that would happen. Do you think that if they paid the right price, they could get George Pickens away from the Cowboys? I the
I mean,
Cowboys, I don't think they're
maybe.
selling Pickens, but I think maybe you could make the right call. So
You probably could, or I've also heard rumors about Brian Thomas Jr. They said they're
yeah,
listening for calls. So
yeah, it's like
now
so,
that
so
is
if
a
you could
trade I
get
would take.
if you could get a high level receiver like
Yeah.
that in New England that fits Drake May's timeline, I'm cool with it. But just a guy to get a guy, nah, just focus on the offensive line. But ultimately, when it comes to buy, sell, hold, I'm more hold on the Patriots than anything. Like, just hold pat and don't make any crazy moves. Just make small tweaks, if anything.
Yeah.
Um, is that where you land, or where you buy?
I mean, yeah, I think they should go get a rotational lineman, but that's about it. Like,
Okay.
I'm more of a sell as well.
The a hold.
Yeah, hold on, me.
The Buffalo Bills, they're 5-2. They beat Carolina pretty bad. They got a plus 61 run differential. I'm a big buy for Buffalo, and I'm big buy interior defensive linemen. They have one of the worst run defenses in all of the NFL right now. I want to pull it up exactly just to see where it's at after this week. I know going into the week, the only run defense worse was the Miami Dolphins. And obviously, that's not the company you want to keep if you're looking
Oh
to
God, no.
compete for a Super Bowl. In terms of rush defense, Buffalo is still the second worst. Now it's just behind Cincinnati instead after Brees Hall's big day. But again,
Yeah.
you're in there with Cincinnati, Miami, Dallas. Like that is the company that Buffalo is keeping right now. Ed Oliver's hurt. I would try and go get a defensive tackle by any means necessary. And I don't know who's on the market.
The
But
Titans, call it the Titans, man.
I don't think Simmons is on the market, man.
You gotta try.
They said everybody but Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons are on the market. I would call up the Saints and try and get some of their defensive line pieces if you possibly could. Dexter Lawrence off the Giants. I mean, I would shoot for the stars and maybe you land on the moon.
The
Right? And
Giants
maybe you
have
get
a plethora. I heard Kayvon Thibodeau was a name to
Thibodeau could be
monitor
on
as
the
well.
move.
Yeah.
Looking at some of these teams that don't have good records that we could potentially talk about being sellers. Um, Obviously Cleveland comes to mind. Can you get any of their interior defensive linemen?
It's worth a shot.
We'll see there. If I'm Buffalo, though, I'm not buying a receiver. Again, similar to New England. If Brian Thomas is available and I can get him, sure. But
that's a long shot.
I'm not bringing in a Rashid Shaheed if I'm Buffalo. It feels like they've already Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur, they're already in that spot. So for me, for Buffalo, interior defensive lineman, is there anywhere else you're looking?
Nah, I don't think they should go after anybody. I think there's not.
They have to bring in a defensive lineman. They have to, because that run defense is so bad. Like you're Super Bowl or bust if you're the Bills.
I don't think they're one move away from contending, but I mean, I guess to have a respectable run defense, you probably should make a move. I just don't think
maybe
it's
you can get a linebacker, but yeah. The Miami Dolphins, to me, they're a hard sell, and I'm not saying that I would sell Jalen Waddle, although if I could get a 1, like maybe, but they definitely need to be selling Chubb, Phillips, and any really piece. I'd move off of A-Chain if I was them. I know Dolphins fans love A-Chain, but for what you could probably get for him, the team's just not at a spot where having a running back makes a difference to me. And I liked it. And what we saw out of Jalen Wright in this backfield and Ollie Gordon, if you can get a decent value for JaVon A-Chain, I don't mind rolling with those two guys as my backfield and selling A-Chain high. Right now, how many teams are we going to talk about that feel like they're a piece away from going to the Super Bowl? Could you get a second or third round pick for JaVon A-Chain? Like I would sell if I was Miami. And if I could get off of Tua, so
man, that's a whole different conversation, man. He needs to go. But yeah, they need to sell everybody. And if you can get a 1 for Waddle, I think that's a no-brainer. I think if you can get a 1 for Waddle, that is a no-brainer.
Yeah. I would tear it down if I was Miami. I'm sure we'll talk about it more this offseason. I think they have one of the bleakest futures of all teams in the NFL at this point in time.
I mean, it can't get much worse. So might as well trade everybody. Get what you can.
The New York Jets, they're 1-7. I'm kind of a hold. Maybe move Brees Hall just because he's definitely not re-signing this offseason. Like I would sell Brees Hall, but I'm not blowing it up. Like I'm not trading Quinnen Williams. I'm not trading Quincy Williams. I'm not trying to move Sauce. I'm not trying to move Garrett Wilson, like the core pieces of this team. Brees Hall, if I get the right offer, I'd move him. But I know at 1-7 saying hold sounds really odd. I think if they had the right quarterback, they could be a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And do you think they would franchise tag Brees Hall? I don't think he would be worth it. I don't know. I feel like they would, but would he be worth it? I don't think so. But they'll be
I
lucky to
I
get a
don't I
fourth round
and like
pick for him.
Braylon Allen will be back next year, and I think he's pretty solid. Again, like if they sell Brees Hall, cool, but it's not sell like I am for the Dolphins, where I'd be looking to offload multiple pieces.
Yeah, I would hold off if I was them for sure because they have the core, man. They just need a quarterback, but the core is there.
Yeah, for sure. The AFC North, your Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-3. They actually, funny enough, are the only team in the NFL with neither a negative or positive point differential. They've scored 175 points this season. They've had 175 points scored against them. I'll let you start here, man. Where are you at on Pittsburgh? Should they be buying? Should they be selling? Should they be holding?
I think I think both. Everything. They need everything, man. And I I know the defensive schemes has been really bad, and that's like another rant that I could talk about next week or whatever. But I just think the defense is very old. You pay all these people, and you're the highest paid defense. You guys are old. I think off maybe I don't want to, but TJ Watt has not made an impact this year, and I would listen, player. And then on the other side, I know we just signed MVS, but I mean, that's not going to cut it, man. Roman Wilson kind of had a breakout game last game, but he scored his touchdown in garbage time or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I expect him to get more snaps. But I mean, yeah, I would say if you can trade some people and make the defense younger, get younger because the players that are playing good are not getting snaps. Nick Herbig, before when Alex Highsmith was hurt, was producing at a very good level. Peyton Wilson not getting enough snaps, and he was the best player on the defense. He was the only green spot on the defense. But yeah, I would say if you really serious about this year, you should be looking for another running back. I love Jalen Warren. But if you had another running back next to him, our offense would be that much better. See if you can trade Freiermuth. See if you can trade one of those tight ends and get another piece in. I think everything.
So
I think we need everything, right?
I'm pretty heavily on hold here for Pittsburgh. And the reason for that is just the lead that they have in their division. While I wouldn't bet on them to win it right now, in the locker room, you still have to kind of like where you're at this point in time. You still have those two games versus Baltimore. So, you've played them pretty well. After the Bengals have lost to the Jets, it kind of feels like it's only a matter of time for them to start falling apart, and the Browns are still the Browns. So you're still very much alive for winning the division after the start to the year. It's been two bad games in a row, and they're bringing in MVS. I don't know if that's great. I would probably buy another wide receiver. It doesn't feel like Calvin Austin's been consistently good
He's been
enough. That's
hurt.
why Roman Wilson's been out there. And if you trade for a Rashid Shaheed, I think like he could still fit the timeline for this team going forward as well. I think it's very possible that we get to the end of the season and Steelers fans are kind of like, I wish we would have just blown it up at the deadline and traded all the veterans on the defense for as many draft picks as we could have and tanked. But I just can't imagine doing that with the state of the division right now. If
Yeah.
Baltimore was 5-2 instead of 2-5, I think I'd be more on sell. But with the lead that they have in the division right now, I think you kind of have to hold pat. And the problem for the team is the defense. But you
Yeah.
spend the most money of any team in the NFL on defense. So I think you kind of got to hold and hope that you figure it out. I don't know how optimistic I am that happens, but that's where I'd be at on that. The Cincinnati Bengals, man, I'm selling Trey Hendrickson. I don't envision a world where they can extend him. And after a loss to the New York Jets, I don't think I'm playing as if we got a real shot this year. I know that after them beating Pittsburgh, the momentum kind of shifted towards hold and wait for Burrow to get back. I think the loss to the Jets just swung it completely the other way, and I'd move off of Hendrickson. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that we're going to talk about as buyers that could use an edge rusher. We talked about New England.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't bring up edge rusher, but if Trey Hendrickson became available, that's a guy that they should go get with Drake May on a rookie deal.
You see the Cowboys, man, they're always in rumors for a pass rusher now.
I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NFL obviously, that should go get a pass rusher. We're going to talk about a team in the AFC South, but the Indianapolis Colts, man, if they added a Trey Hendrickson to that unit, you know, Philly, Detroit, San Francisco, like there's just the Buccaneers, like in the NFC, we're going to get there too. Like Trey Hendrickson would have a very big market. I don't know if I believe at this point in time you get a one unless there's a kind of an agreed upon extension in place, but I definitely think you could get a two just for Trey Hendrickson's rental services for this year from a team that believes they're one Trey Hendrickson away from winning or competing for a Super Bowl.
I mean, I would trade him and T. Higgins, to be honest with you. If it's anything that Jamar,
they're not trading Higgins.
Jamar does not need.
They should have never extended Higgins, and they should have extended Hendrickson, but they already committed to what Joe Burrow wanted. If I could move Higgins, I'd keep Hendrickson.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think they're looking. I don't think they're looking to move Higgins. I think Hendrickson's the guy, and I think that Cam Taylor-Britt's going to be moved. He's been like a healthy and active for them for the past couple of weeks. I don't think it's a big move, but I do think it falls on Cincinnati selling.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing Jamar has proven is that, I mean, you don't need to be paying a wide receiver 2 that much money, and he's proved that.
I mean, in the last game versus the Jets, he had one catch for 44 yards and a touchdown. Like, no offense to T. Higgins, but like anybody could have, like, you could have just drafted a guy if that's like the workhorse like you're looking for. Like that's on Marquez Valdez-Scantling stat, and he was just thinking about a free agency.
And maybe it's because Joe Flacco has just dropped back and said, "I'm going to throw the ball to Jamar Chase, like regardless." If you see target share,
that's what the offense is set up to be. So yeah, we agree there. They should sell. The Baltimore Ravens, I'm hold.
Yeah.
They're 2-5. They looked pretty decent against the Bears, actually. I thought that the defense played better than it has been. And I think like if they could get that level out of the defense week to week, and with Lamar back in the offense, they could be good enough to win this division. So I would hold. Would you buy or sell or just hold for the Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, I would hold, man, to be honest. I mean, Lamar's coming back and your schedule is pretty favorable. So they shouldn't really do anything, man. It's time to rock out now.
The Cleveland Browns, they're another hold for me. They just don't have a quarterback on the roster, similar to the Jets. Where the record's terrible, I actually don't think that they're that far away. I think if they just had a quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, I think is awful. They traded away Joe Flacco. I don't envision a world that we don't see Shedeur Sanders play this year. I don't think – listen, Shedeur was always my quarterback 3. I had Dart ahead of him, but there was a point in time where we had talked about Shedeur as a top 10 pick pretty consensusly. Is there like some attitude and some cockiness to him? Maybe. I mean, it depends who you ask and what quote you see on which given day, but he has to be the best quarterback in their room.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're like, okay, we're going to give Dylan Gabriel a 10-week slate, you know? Maybe. I don't know. But
I mean, I would hold the rest of the roster though. AFC South, 7-1 Indianapolis Colts, plus 116 run differential. That is the best in the NFL. So they're not just winning, they're blowing people out. They've won 4 in a row. I'd buy. I would buy. I would be in the market for an edge rusher, whether it's the high end Trey Hendrickson or whether it's Kayvon Thibodeau, like we mentioned from the Giants. Like this is a team that now 2 months into the season, we know is legit. It's not just a flash in the pan. The Steichen Daniel Jones thing is working to the level that Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold worked last year. And we've seen this year, like Sam Darnold wasn't even just a one-year wonder. He's done well in Seattle as well. Jonathan Taylor has an MVP case. Tyler Warren, Pittman, the offensive line is really solid. So I don't think they need to add to the offense. And the defense is decent. It's not, the best defense in football, but in terms of yards allowed per game, they're middle of the pack, a little bit towards the back end. In terms of points per game, they're pretty good at holding you to 3. They're 6th in the NFL in points per game right now. And I want to pull up where they are in sacks just to kind of make a further point as to why I do think that a pass rusher is what they need specifically. Right now, in terms of sacks, they are 6th in the NFL, which is actually pretty solid. But if you could add another premier piece to this. I think that defense could enter fringe top 10 territory with what they're allowing points wise and where their numbers could be. So I'm buying if I'm the Colts, but I'm buying defensive talent.
I mean, yeah, you kind of have to, man. I don't know what they got in the air up there in Indiana, but you got to go all in and see how far you can take this thing, man. And that's just facts. I don't. Who knows when a season like this, an opportunity like this will ever happen again? You know,
Yeah.
and you guys don't have the big name quarterback, but Jonathan Taylor is the league MVP right now, in my opinion. Like, there's nobody more important to his team than Jonathan freaking Taylor. And I don't know who the last quarterback or the last running back was. It Adrian Peterson?
It was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, so I mean,
should have been Saquon last year, but
yeah, I mean, his stats have to be on par with Adrian Peterson. I don't know, because he's been going crazy.
JT is one more 3-touchdown game away this season from tying LaDainian Tomlinson's single season record for most 3-touchdown games in a season, and we're at the half. We're 8 weeks in, so if he just does it one more time, so yeah, they have to be buying. To me, with Kansas City and with respect to some of the other teams in the AFC, those have been my top 2 AFC teams for a couple of weeks now. And if you have bring in another pass rusher and you can get to Patrick Mahomes and their line plays to the ability that it has, I give them more than a fighting shot against Kansas City. Especially if they had Trey Hendrickson in,
Yeah.
I'd almost want to pick them to win, if I'm being honest.
Wild.
I know, but we'll see what happens when we get there. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're 4-3. I think I'd hold. I know that like they're listening to offers on Brian Thomas, and maybe there's more to that in terms of just locker room and chemistry than I'm aware of. I don't think it's worth buying when your quarterback's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
But you can't sell him. So I would just hold. Maybe this offseason you could convince like a Raiders or a Browns or somebody else to trade for Trevor Lawrence. But for the rest of this season, I would just hold and see what Liam Cohen could do with the talent.
Yeah, I mean, they got off to that hot start because of their defense and their offense. They have weapons on their offense. Travis Hunter, a week or 2 ago, 2 weeks ago, just had his first 100-yard game.
The London game. And apparently they want to start using him more at wide receiver, which I think it's the right move.
Why haven't you been doing that before?
Yeah.
The most inconsistent receiver in the NFL is on your team, Brian Thomas Jr., at least this season. And Travis Etienne has been pretty solid himself. So you guys have the offensive weapons. It just has to get clicking. I don't think they should change anything.
No, me neither. The Houston Texans, I think they should buy offensive line. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to matter this year because they're 3-4. They have a first place schedule. So I don't know if they're going to, and they're probably not going to win their division. So they'd have to get in as a wild card team. And then, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Broncos, 2 of those teams will be competing for the wild card. Then you'll have Pittsburgh and Baltimore, one of Buffalo or New England. So it seems like a tall task for Houston to get in right now, but I wouldn't just throw the season away. You do have a top 3 defense in the entire league. CJ Stroud just showed us versus the 49ers that if you can keep him clean, he can absolutely deal and command an offense still. They had the ball for 42 minutes of that game versus the Niners. The Niners offense was only out there for 18 minutes of that game. So the offensive line, I do think it helps give you an opportunity this year, but they need it for the future anyway. So I would just be buying any offensive line piece that's available.
They traded away LT, and everybody was like, I don't think it's going to be that much. He was old. He was getting hurt here and there.
To be fair, I don't really think it changed much. I thought their offensive line was pretty bad last year.
I think it's significantly worse this year. He is running for his life. He
was running for his life all last year.
He can't even process what's going. He can't even process.
I think the reason it looks worse is because it's a new offensive system that is Nick Haley coming over from the Rams, who's used to having real offensive lines. So his system is built for a team that can have an offensive line. The Tennessee Titans, I don't know if there's anything I don't know if there's anything worth selling, but I would if I could. like I would move off of Jeffrey Simmons, and I don't. Maybe that's heartless. Maybe that's like he wants to be a Titan for life, and maybe that's why they're keeping him. I would certainly, I would be calling up Philadelphia and saying, how much of L'Jarius Sneed's contract do you need us to take on to get a third round pick?
Well,
Like,
he's on IR right now, is he? I think he is.
yeah,
but
maybe. I I don't
I
know.
know for sure
I stopped
Simmons.
really locking into Titans games a couple weeks ago, so
I
maybe
haven't.
Sneed's playing,
I've
maybe
watched
he's
the
not.
first 2-3 games, and it's really nothing worth watching, man. I mean, I got
Yeah, I
Tony
mean,
Pollard in fantasy, but
I watched Jonathan Taylor. Um, yeah, L'Jarius Sneed was placed on injured reserve October 23rd, so that just happened. Okay,
yeah,
so I don't think that they're going to be able to move him.
that
So
sucks though. They could have
that
got some value for that.
yeah, would you? I mean, I don't know if anybody's taken on the contract, but I would shop Calvin Ridley. Like, absolutely. Again, I don't know if there's a team that really needs Calvin Ridley. Because again, like we talked about New England, who could use a receiver. I wouldn't buy if I was them. Your Pittsburgh Steelers could go super old, I guess, and just really
Dude, he's like
commit to
what,
the bit.
33, 31?
Yeah, if they
Somewhere
really
around
want
there.
to commit to the bit. Um, yeah, and looking around the league, I'm not seeing a team that I think would be in the market for Calvin Ridley.
I
But
mean, a sneaky name. I feel like Tony Pollard could be useful on a lot of teams. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
you could. They want to give the running back room to Spears
If
already.
Kansas City doesn't want to pay a Devon A chain price,
Yeah, and you could probably fifth round. They'll take him off your hands for a fifth rounder. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
So maybe that. I know he's from that area though, so I don't know if they like want to do that. Again, if I was the Titans, I would sell, but I feel like they traded away Roger McCreary. I feel like that was kind of their piece to sell, and they already did.
I
Um,
guess.
AFC West, Denver Broncos. This is a stronghold for me. The
Yeah,
Broncos are starting to really finally look like the team that I envisioned them looking like this offseason. Top five run game in the sport, an offensive line that Bo Nix doesn't get sacked, a defensive line that leads the NFL in sacks by 10 plus sacks. So they protect their quarterback, they get to yours, they have a real run game, and they have some nice deep threats. And Cortland Sutton's pretty consistent, and Sean Payton's a good head coach. Like, it's a formula to go beat any team on any given Sunday. And
yeah.
when they're playing a bad team like Dallas, to dominate. So I would hold. I wouldn't be in the market here to buy anything. I listen, like obviously, if Brian Thomas Jr. is available, like every team that's competing should at least pick up the phone and see what the price is. But if I'm Denver, I'm not like racing around just to get any receiver.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need to get anybody. Their
No.
run game is they kind of got like a two-headed monster now, kind
Yep.
of, and their passing game is coming along. Troy Franklin, he's starting to come along too. They got some pieces, man. I don't see why they would change anything.
Me neither. The Chargers, I'm also a hold on them. I mean, they're just hurt. Like, quite frankly, like that's their biggest problem. They could maybe bring in an interior offensive lineman. And again, I don't know if I would call that buying, but I like their defense. When O'Marion Hampton's back, I like their running back room. They have good receivers. Justin Herbert's solid. It's just about getting healthy for them. Like we saw on Thursday Night Football, what a huge difference Joe Alt made. Next year, they're
Yeah,
going to have Rashawn. Like, we haven't even seen this team with Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt at their current spot. So, while I don't think this is the year for the Chargers, I don't think they need to be buying. I just think they have to get healthy throughout this season to be competing. And I think that with that defense and with Herbert and with Harbaugh, they do have a fighting chance any given Sunday. And next year, as long as that tackle duo is healthy, we could see an MVP level season from Justin Herbert if these are the receiving weapons he has.
yeah. I mean, they're in a really tough division though, bro. So every
Yeah,
game's gonna matter. And
I
what?
just like remember what the team looked like healthy for the first month of the season and how we were talking about it.
Yeah,
Then Mekhi Becton gets hurt every single week. Joe Alt missed a ton of time. O'Marion Hampton's hurt. They're, I believe, on a backup center right now, even as well. So they have to just get the offensive line healthy. But if
I
it
mean,
again,
Hampton's still a month away. I think.
where they were at the beginning of the season, they can get back to that team by the end of the year and still be competing with just about anybody.
Yeah.
Kansas City, 5-3, plus 83 point differential, viewed by many as the best team in football, despite being 5-3 and third in their division right now. I'm buying, and I'm buying pass rusher, and I'm buying running back.
Yeah.
And I know it's crazy to say that after we just said that many people are viewing Kansas City as the best team in football. They don't have a really great pass rush right now when rushing 4. Karlaftis is cool, but not amazing.
He'll show up in the playoffs, though.
He'll show up in the playoffs, but if they could get Kayvon Thibodeau from the Giants, that's the exact player that would go to Kansas City and just ball out for half a season. And Isaiah Pacheco, now week to week with a sprained MCL, he hasn't even been producing as is. Kareem Hunt's like a good goal line back, but I think that they could benefit seriously from anywhere from a Raheem Mostert all the way up to a JaVon I level talent.
Yeah, that's true. They got that third string guy, Smith. I think
Rashad Smith.
Yeah, they're trying to get him
love him
touches
in the screen game. I don't know about him as a consistent running back this season for them. I think Breece Hall, if they didn't even want to extend him, but just play him out for the year, that could be an interesting name to look at. And then he goes into free agency, and then they start giving Rashad Smith more leeway next season. But if I'm Kansas City, I am buying.
I mean, you can never have too many pass rushers, and they clearly need a running back because the leading rusher, I'm pretty sure, is Mahomes on that whole entire team.
Yeah. So their best running back has been Kareem Hunt, who is over 30 and a little slow at this point.
Yeah, very slow. He's basically a fullback.
The Las Vegas Raiders, I would sell similar to the Titans if I could. I don't think Max Crosby wants to be traded, and I think if the face of I don't think they should trade him unless he asks to be traded.
Yeah,
but
why would you?
If he wanted out, I would move him because he would be instantaneously the best player available. You would get multiple picks, including a first rounder for Max Crosby.
Yeah, he just re-upped a year ago, I think.
Right, so whoever's trading for him has him for a while. You might be able to get a 1 and a 2 or a 1 and a young piece. So if I was the Raiders, I would move Max Crosby if Max Crosby wanted to be moved. Other than that, they'll probably move Jacoby Myers.
I feel like they have to. It's mandatory.
They're just not going to re-up him. So I would
keep him?
I would sell there if I was the Raiders. So that's the AFC. On to the NFC. NFC East, 6-2, leading the way. Philadelphia Eagles. Buy. I think they need to buy a corner. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's all y'all need.
Yeah, I think that they could use another rotational lineman, but that's a small piece, not necessarily anything major. But corner 2, absolutely, I would be buying, and I'd be knocking on every team's door, just seeing what's available out there, because just right now, as it stands, you play a team that has 2 good receivers, and you just can't play man coverage if you're Philly. So
it's really bad over there. I mean, and nobody was expecting that. You were big on Ringo going into this year. You thought he had potential. Adoree Jackson is a veteran as well.
The Eagles also believed in Ringo very clearly. That's why Isaiah Rodgers wasn't re-signed.
Yeah.
Slay, I think they were always willing to move off of because of the age and the money he was going to want. But I think they let Isaiah Rodgers go because of their belief in Keely Ringo. So Philly should be buying a corner. They're not selling AJ Brown. I'm not even entertaining that right now.
Happen. Maybe next year though, or this offseason. Possibly.
The only AJ Brown trade I'm entertaining is a deal in which Philly gets back Christian Gonzalez, which doesn't exist, but I'm just being candid as an Eagles fan. This offseason, because here's the thing. If Philly moves AJ Brown for draft capital, they are a worse team for the rest of this year and don't bring back anything to help them this year when they have a Super Bowl level roster. So there's no point in moving him today for draft picks you could get postseason.
What about AJ Brown for Brian Thomas Jr. straight up?
You
save money.
I would listen. I would do what the Jags wouldn't. There's just no.
So you would do it.
But there's no reason that the Jags would do that. Why
Yeah,
would the
that's
Jags
right. That's right. They're
so
shopping him for a reason. They probably want a more consistent receiver with real
I,
hands.
yeah, yeah, I I don't think that deal exists. The Dallas Cowboys 3-4-1. Um, I, I guess I'd hold. I
Gotcha.
mean, unless Max Crosby becomes available, like what else are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna buy three pieces on that defense and really try and push your chips on the table in an NFC that has Philly, Green Bay, Detroit, Tampa, Seattle, the Rams, the Niners? Like that's the 7 playoff teams in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like
I
I just
mean,
don't see like you would sell all these assets for a chance to get into the playoffs. I don't see it being worth it.
you don't have to go all in, but if they do think if there's somebody who they liked in the draft last year and maybe he's not getting a lot of snaps, if somebody's like, oh yeah, give me Jalen Tolbert and we'll give you our freaking cornerback 3 that we just got from the
Yeah,
draft,
sure. Like if
and
you want
they
to buy like a
just a
little
young
piece,
piece,
but I'm not like
that could,
aggressively buying if I'm
yeah,
them.
that's facts.
Um, the Commanders, the same deal. I'd hold their record right now. Just it doesn't dictate buying. But you have Jaden Daniels coming back at quarterback. He hasn't even gotten to play with Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel and Krosky much this year. Like we haven't even seen the offense at full strength. So it's not worth selling anybody to me. But at their current record, I just don't see buying being worth anything to them.
Yeah, that's a disaster over there. I think, just in my opinion, I think like I already predicted this season's gonna be a disaster for them. I
Yeah.
already predicted that shit.
Yeah. I mean, we were both kind of on that this offseason. The New York Giants, I I would. It's gonna sound crazy. I'd buy, and I would buy pieces for the future. Like if they could get Brian Thomas Jr. back together with Malik Neighbors, I don't give a shit that they're not going to win this year. Like if I could go into next year
Ricky
with
Beals.
Dart, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Scatabo, Wandale Robinson, or like the same thing applies to Olave, Waddle, even as far down as Rashid Shaheed. Like I would just buy anybody that I think helps my core next year as well. I wouldn't
Yeah,
buy anybody that's on a 1-year rental, but if I could send like for whatever reason, like let's say the Jaguars are really selling Brian Thomas. If I could send them Thibodeau and a pick for Brian Thomas, like let's get that deal through yesterday if I'm the Giants. Because with the Commanders' struggles, the fact that Dallas needs a ton, and I know Philly just beat the Brinks out them, but 2 weeks ago the Giants did beat Philly. The fact
yeah,
that like they split the season series this year and Philly has the much better roster. If I'm the Giants, I feel like we're 1,000% in play to win this division next year. And if Dart develops even further, the sky's the limit for this team.
hey man, their quarterback, he
They're a team
has
that
no.
I really like for 2026, which as an Eagles fan, I hate that I really like them for 2026.
Oh, watching Dart play, it scares me because he's not afraid to make any throw at all. Like
And
there's
but he
no throw that
doesn't
scares
really
me.
turn the like, and he's
Yeah,
good at it.
that's the
Like,
scariest part. Is like, yo, like,
so
this,
like he has top 10 upside.
yeah,
Like,
he actually does.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the leap we saw Drake May take from last year to this year, I think Dart could do similar work next year in
I
his
think
sophomore
Dart is
season.
already better than May was last year. Like
Yeah,
Dart this year.
May didn't get to start last year.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
obviously
yet.
neither did Dart, so maybe it's just a real similar trajectory. NFC North, Green Bay Packers. I'm holding. I don't know what they'd buy, right? Like your quarterback, you're set on. You have Josh Jacobs. Like maybe they could go in on a receiver, but to me, it feels like they like their receiving core. And Tucker Kraft has emerged as a real #1 threat for them that you could believe in. They have a good offensive line. It felt like they already did their buy before the season started when they got Micah Parsons.
And not to mention, you just drafted a receiver in the first round as well. Do you really want to trade for a receiver? I mean, I get
Yeah.
it. Wicks is what is it? Wicks or no? Wicks and Reed are both hurt, but you're loaded. You still got Golden. You
And
still got
Watson just
Dobbs.
came back.
Yeah, you're good.
Like
So
from the Packers, I'm holding for sure. Detroit Lions, I'm buying, and I'm buying edge rusher, man. The Aiden Hutchinson is obviously really good, and Detroit kind of is a fake top 5 team in the NFL in sacks because they had that one really massive game against Lamar where Lamar just kept like holding the ball into
Yeah,
sacks
that
forever,
was
but they're
horrible.
just not getting consistent edge pressure outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And good teams in the playoffs are going to chip their tight end and neutralize him. And I think for Detroit, this is more of just an opinion thing. They're not fake good. Fake good's not the right word. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them right now. I feel like they have one way to win, and it's get a lead early. And if they don't get a lead early and they have to come back from down 2 scores, I don't believe that they could do it. Because I don't think that their defense is good enough to get you off the field very quickly. Because again, if they're playing a playoff caliber team, and I don't think that when they can't utilize their run, their passing game is dynamic enough.
Yeah, they're not using Jamison Williams anywhere. That might be a player they sell because
I mean,
they're
they
not
just
using him.
extended him though. That'd be crazy if they sold him at this deadline. They
I don't
just
even. That's
extend.
he's not doing
I
anything.
know, I know. No, I understand your football logic. It would just be crazy to me. A guy that they just extended, they're like, we're selling.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
uh,
is, nobody fears the Lions anymore. You know, like last year, they're like, "Yo, like we got to be on our p's and
like
q's because they will drop 40 on us." You know.
to me, Detroit isn't even a top 4 scariest team in the NFC. Like Philly, Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams are all scarier to me.
Well, Tampa went healthy, yeah,
Tampa when healthy, yeah.
yeah, but
Um,
I mean, I gotta agree with you, but
the
yeah,
Chicago Bears, 4-3. Um, I'd hold. I'd hold, and I'd see what Ben Johnson and Caleb Johnson turn out to be the rest of this year. Um, I don't know if you watched my weekly reactions video on Monday. That loss to Baltimore was the most concerning loss I've seen of Caleb Williams' career.
it was
And
awful.
it's because it's a defense that struggled all year. You have the right guy at offensive coordinator, and they largely lost because you couldn't execute simple stuff. So I would hold and just see if Ben Johnson can fix Caleb Williams. A
Hey,
fix I thought was an overreaction, but it's reminds me of Anthony Richardson, man, where it's like the guy can make special plays, but he can't do the simple stuff. Maybe a better comp is Trevor Lawrence, where it's like the guy can surprise you sometimes with some really special stuff, but on a consistent down to down basis, you just don't know what you're going to get.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I do think they need to sell on DJ Moore. I do think it's time, and
Who's
if you,
buying?
I don't know, but he's gonna have some value. Like DJ Moore's
What?
no.
And I mean, because Luther Burden needs more touches. He's dynamic with the
Yeah,
ball.
he's banged up a little bit right now. But if you really want to build your team like the Lions did, you can have Luther Burden in the Jamison Williams role. Your Amon Ra would be a Dunze, and then DJ Moore is kind of left out. You know,
Yeah, I mean, right now they got him lining up at running back to get him touches. So maybe
yeah,
that's not a bad shout by you, especially if they fall to 4-4. Um, if you sent him to like Buffalo, I think DJ Moore might be like in that territory where it's like worth it for Buffalo to pick up the phone and call because he is a true one.
exactly.
So yeah, that's an interesting one. The Minnesota Vikings, they're 3-4. I think you have to hold. I don't think that like would you sell Jordan Addison? Because it's about to be time to extend him. Like that's a
Wow, it
guy.
is.
That's
It's
that's a
crazy.
guy that New England should call about because it's not or the Giants because it's not just this year, but New England would be perfect because one, it gives the I think he'd be the best receiver on their team,
I think he's a one already. That's just
and
me.
then you have him paired up with May for the future.
Yeah,
Oh man, I think
I,
I just talked myself into that in the moment. To be honest,
I think he's a one already, but that's just my opinion. But I mean, you got to write out at least one season with the gang. Like you got Addison,
yeah,
you got
yeah, you got to
Jefferson,
see what JJ
McCarthy's
McCarthy can
coming
do.
back. You got to at
Yeah,
least give it
and
one.
apparently him and Addison had a pretty good connection. So maybe that was just me, fantasy dreaming there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6-2. To me, they're an easy hold. Again, maybe an extra defensive lineman rotational piece, but they just got to get healthy, man. And
Yeah,
that core is not going to be fully healthy during most of the regular season because Mike Evans is going to be out, but they need Bucky Irving back in the worst way
they
possible. Chris Godwin, now that Mike Evans isn't going to play, like Ibuka could be your one, but I think you need Godwin more than ever to be a two. So I'm holding if I'm Tampa. Carolina at 4-4. What are you doing?
Yo, that's a weird situation. You're not going to get nothing crazy for Hubbard, but I'll get rid of him. Rico Dado's the guy. He's top 5 receiver. You might
I
as well
mean,
ride it out.
like, could Kansas City be like, hey, we'll pick up Hubbard? Like,
I
if they don't
mean,
want to pay a Brees Hall or JaVon I Chain Price?
yeah. Yeah, hey, I'll pick up the
They just
phone
like
for that.
re-upped Hubbard though, didn't they, this offseason? Didn't he just get a bag?
I think so, but you look at what Dado's doing, and he's already
No, I hear that. I just meant like
coach already said like his
I don't
touches
see
are going
Kansas
down.
City trading for a running back that's getting paid.
Yeah, especially if it's not at not Hubbard quality. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you can get a young defensive piece for cheap, by trading Hubbard, I say do it. But besides that,
If you could, nah. Yeah,
Ted McMillan been balling. I've been watching him.
yeah. Otherwise, they got to hold the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what to do with this team. I mean, Kirk Cousins this week, I give him a pass because you're on a backup quarterback. You didn't have your wide receiver 1, your wide receiver 2, Darnell Mooney was just coming back off of an injury, and he had to be wide receiver 1. Everybody and their mother knew that the plan was going to be through Bijan, and to Miami's credit, like, they stepped up. But I guess if I'm Atlanta, I hold. I'm not bought into this team.
They need to fire that offensive coordinator. They have too much talent, bro.
Yeah.
Real talk. They have too much talent.
Would
got
you
the highest tight end
if they lost this week and fell to 3-5, would you trade away Kyle Pitts if you were them?
Nah, I believe in Kyle Pitts, bro.
This week they play at New England, so they're probably going to lose at 3-5. If you could get a good pick for Pitts, would you move him?
I don't think you're going to get a good pick for a tight end. Like, I just don't think so. But like, and your defense,
I also don't know
who's
buying tight end either.
Your pass rush is solid. Like your pass defense is solid. Is literally who would have thought? You got Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and beating the best running back in the NFL, basically, or a top 2 running back, and you can't score points. Like, 1 week you're losing to the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, 120 points scored this season. That's less than New Orleans, who we're about to talk about.
Incredible.
Speaking of New Orleans, I would sell. I would move off of Shaheed if I was them. Kamara doesn't want to go anywhere. He said he'd straight up retire. So I guess like you're just kind of living it out with Kamara.
I think he's bluffing. I call his bluff. I call his bluff.
Like if I was New Orleans, maybe I'd call his bluff.
Yeah.
If I was a team that was on the market, would I trade for a guy who said if I trade for him, he's going to retire? Probably not. I think they're going to move Shaheed and then re-up Olave. I think that's probably the right way to go about it for them. If some of the vets on that team are willing to be dealt, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis,
it's time for them to bounce. I ain't gonna. They've been there a minute.
Like some of them love being there in New Orleans. So again, I'm not kicking anybody off my team that's been there as long as those guys. If they want to stay, I think like they've earned the right to just play out their career there if that's what they want to do. But if they're like, hey, I'd like to compete, I would like honor them with that and move them for sure.
They're getting paid real money though, man.
I know it'd be tough. I'm just like a team like New England or the Colts that doesn't have a ton of money invested in the quarterback could bring in Cam Jordan and pay him out for the year.
Yeah, I feel like Davis might have a little bit more trade value right now. Cam Jordan he starts, but he's not really that impactful. But they already announced that one of those 2 receivers is gonna get traded. Like,
they announced. Schefter said it, so
you can almost book it though.
Yeah,
Schefter said it. You can almost book it though. So we're gonna see one of those players on another team. I want to see who it's gonna be.
The Seattle Seahawks, man, 5-2. They're currently leading the NFC West. I think I'd hold. It is interesting though. They don't have a really great wide receiver 2 option outside of JSN.
Yeah.
And there is some receivers on the market. Shaheed to there would be interesting. We saw Rashid Shaheed last year with Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, open up the season for New Orleans, and Shaheed was balling with Kubiak as like that deep threat. They brought in Seattle did MVS this offseason to try and take that Shaheed role. Obviously, it didn't work out because he didn't end up on the team. Torrey Horton hasn't exactly stepped up and claimed that role. Cooper Kupp hasn't been consistent enough. I would probably try and buy a running mate for alongside JSN to get a second option in this passing game, because you're going to get to the playoffs and teams are just going to double JSN and be like, what do you got?
I mean, Shaheed would be scary because JSN is already over the top, taking care of all of that. Like, I think,
and then
I
even think Kyle Pitts for them is an interesting name to look at.
Barner's coming along now, but
you could run 2 tight end sets.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But Barner has been crazy after the
catch
too.
I think like their run game hasn't been great, but I think Walker and Charbonnet are good enough talent-wise, and they like them. The defense is solid. They might sell Reek Woolen, but I don't think so. Not with the Witherspoon injury that they have. I think I'd ride it out. I would try and bring in another weapon, though, because I do think while their offense has been really good with JSN and Darnold, I do think that there's kind of like a point in the season where teams are going to be like, all right, we're just double teaming this guy, and like, can you beat us with somebody else? And I don't know if they have the dudes to beat with somebody else.
Yeah,
if they played against Philly or Green Bay right now, and if Philly trades for another corner, obviously it's kind of contingent on that, which is why I think that they need to do it. But if Philly, or let's just say Green Bay, right? If Green Bay throws Valentine on their wide receiver 2 and just has their corner 2 and a safety help over the top on JSN, kind of just a constant double team. That's what the Jets used to do to teams. They would put Darrelle Revis solely on the wide receiver 2 and then just double the wide receiver 1. I think you could get away with that pretty quickly right now on Seattle's offense, and it would at least mess them up. Maybe they'd figure it out, maybe they wouldn't, but I think they should buy another weapon. The Rams, they're 5-2. For me, at this point, they're a hold because I thought what they should have bought was a corner, and they already got Roger McCreary. Yeah, so they kind of already did their buying. The 49ers, they're 5-3. I think they have to hold. I think with the remaining schedule and how easy it is, they're probably a playoff team, but they are just the most injured team. And the only reason I say that is because I don't know who takes the spot away from them. 3-4-1 Dallas, who's what are they? 0-4-1 against teams with an above 500 record, 0-3-1, something like that. Washington, who's 3-5, the Bears, after what we just saw with them, like those are the teams that are closest. Does Atlanta turn it around? Carolina? Like I'm not really betting on any of those teams to catch up to the Niners with the way that the Niners coaching is this season. And if they can get Purdy back out there, Pearsall, I think the offense will be good enough to get to 10 wins, which I think in the NFC will get them that 7 seed.
I think they got to buy a pass rusher. Like they have to. Bryce Huff is hurt now too.
I think if you bring in a guy that could be a 2 alongside, but the thing is they have Michael Williams. Like next year they want to be Williams and Bosa to bring in Thibodeau.
I think it's just a 1-year thing. Like I don't know what team
because they're rumored for Trey Hendrickson.
I wouldn't do that at all. No, I mean I don't know what team he's on at all.
If you're going to re-up him, I guess. But then do you transition Michael Williams to an interior defensive lineman? I guess you could.
Bosa too, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think just like a 1-year guy, but they're hurt. They're hurt
bad on that defense. They couldn't get a pass rush against Houston, and love for the Texans, but probably says something about your D line. Arizona Cardinals, man. I don't think they have anything that they could sell, but I think Kyler, they should try and sell him this offseason. That's my take.
What's the record right now?
2-5. They've lost 5 straight. They started off the year 2-0, and they've lost 5 straight. They're coming out of a bye week.
Well, I do know for certainty they only have one running back on their roster right now, and that's Zonovan Knight. That's their only running back that's healthy on the roster. That's the only guy. So, I mean, if you want to be competitive, I mean, Connor got hurt, in the first game, and then they released DeMarcado, and Benson is banged up too. Like, they're cooked. I mean, They got some bright spots though. Will Johnson has looked good in the snaps he's had. I mean, Marv is Marv. Like he's had a couple of good games, but that connection is not good. But
Nope.
I mean, if they want to compete, go get a running back, man. Kyler Murray cannot do it all by himself. That's for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree there. So that's an hour. That's every team.
Sheesh.
We'll be back next week. If there's major trades, we'll react to that. If not, we might just come up with something new. Just another way to talk a ball. We got some really fun games coming up. Chiefs, Bills this upcoming weekend. And then I was looking at the week 10 and week 11 slate, and both of those are pretty fire. So a lot of good football to talk about. Maybe next week we'll do midseason awards. Let us know if you got any ideas for anything you'd like to see in the comment section down below. Let us know what you think about the buy, sell, holds that we came up with, anything that you thought we missed. For more content like this, subscribe to the channel every single Wednesday on the channel, episode of Double Coverage, podcast with myself and JaVon. JaVon's content, as always, linked in the description. Make sure if you made it this far in the video, it's a good way to let us know that you like this,
Yes,
and
sir.
hit the subscribe button. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Yes, sir.